bearing in mind you kind of you hadn't really sort of worked as a remote marketing team previously then, what did you do to make sure that people were sort of feeling connected then?
So for me, the main thing as a leader, and I'm looking after 21 people across 3 different countries, right? From Japan and Australia, so very very different time zones. What I implemented as a leader was I had to sacrifice more of my personal time to make sure that I was always there for my team. Right, because you don't have that office environment and that physical interaction where the other person is seeing you every day, and it's all like you have to have a Zoom call to see the other person, otherwise you're literally just chatting on a messenger. It means that there is more of a need from your team members to see you, in inverted commas. What that means is you need to become more available to their messages, to their emails, to their calls, right? And that means you need to sacrifice some of your time, but at the end of the day, it helps them be more productive because they know you're there for them. Because they can't see you physically, then you're not in the office where they can just go like, "Hey George, can I just ask you a quick question?" That doesn't exist anymore, right? Because even if on a messenger you just go like, "Hey George, can I ask you a question?" That doesn't mean I see that question because I might be doing a million other things, right? And especially when you have these long feeds of conversations, everything can get lost so easily. So you need to make yourself more available, both, I would say, mentally and digitally, not physically, because you can't have that physical interaction. But for me, at least, it gave, and I saw it. I saw it tangibly in results because we do a performance review here at Didi, which is very, very thorough, and it's all data driven, right? You get peer reviewed, manager reviewed, subordinate reviewed, like by as many people as you can, and then you get data points. And I saw that actually helped my performance review be a really good one because people thought that I was there for them, that I was there to answer any question, whether it was a personal, professional question, a small question, a silly question in inverted commas, or a serious question, whatever that was. It helped them feel that I was there for them, even though I couldn't be physically there for them.
Yeah. And do you think that maybe the interactions that you have are just a little bit more meaningful because of that? Whereas I think sometimes when you're in office physically together, because you're physically together, you kind of just assume that you're kind of having contact with people. Whereas if you're remotely, then the conversations that you have, as long as you're doing that frequently enough, perhaps just become a little bit more meaningful because you know that you're remote. So maybe the conversations get a bit deeper. Maybe the conversations are all a bit more orientated around, like, how are you? How are you performing? Is there anything I can do to sort of help you? Rather than just assuming everything's okay because they seem okay when you're kind of across the room from them.
Yeah. You're absolutely right. And I did think about this before our conversation because and again, it also depends on the team leader / manager, right? Because a lot of people can use this as an excuse to avoid conversation because it's easier. But for me personally, I use it as an excuse to actually dig deeper and try to find out more and show more empathy to people. So there are 2 things that I did in every single conversation I had, and I still have, right? With team members. That was, I started the conversation with, "How are you?" Right. And when I say "how are you," I actually meant it, tell me how are you? Is everything okay personally or not? And that could be in a 10-minute conversation, a 1-hour conversation. That could be in a group chat with 10 people or on a 1-to-1. And then I also finish the conversation with, "Let me know if there's anything else that you guys need from me." Right. You need something that I need to sort out. We've talked about everything. Are there any other issues that anybody wants to bring up that you might not feel comfortable? Shall we schedule another 1-to-1? So those 2 little questions, intro and outro, helped frame a conversation in a much more empathetic way and helped people feel that they are listened to by their manager, right? Even though I can't sort every single problem there is. I know that, right? There are some things that are completely out of my control, but at least I am showing care and empathy to the people that I manage so they can feel that they can trust me, and they can feel that they can be productive because they're not just working aimlessly and hopelessly for something that's never going to happen, for example.